This presentation provides a brief overview of the article Amplification or Suppression: Social Networks and the Climate Change Migration Association in Rural Mexico, recently published in Global Environmental Change. This research was motivated by the question of whether the presence of social networks, the connection between an origin and destination, increases or decreases international migration in response to climate change. On the one hand, it may be possible that the presence of social networks increases climate-related migration. Migration follows often well-trodden paths, and migrant networks may operate as migrant corridors, strongly facilitating climate-related movements. On the other hand, migrant networks may provide resources through remittances as well as knowledge about climate change adaptation strategies. If this is the case, then the influence of climate change on migration, as shown in this graph, should decline as access to social networks increases. To study this relationship, we model the first and the last move from within a household in response to changes in the climatic system, measured by 15 climate change indicators such as warm spell duration or number of frost days. We measure social networks at the household level by comparing the first and last move from within a household based on the assumption that after the first move, a household has gained internal social capital through the connection to a destination and experience with the process of migrating. At the community level, we measure access to social networks as the proportion of adults with migration experience. This map shows our 68 rural municipalities, the light green polygons, for which detailed migration data was available. The small blue dots represent 214 weather stations from which we obtained daily temperature and precipitation data to construct our climate change indicators. This table shows the effect of the 15 climate change indices on the first and last international move from rural Mexico. The coefficients are reported in odd ratios, for which numbers above 1 reflect positive effects, while values below 1 reflect negative effects. The blue box shows that many significant results emerge for the first move, when households do not have their own networks established. The green box, however, shows that at the time of the last move, when households have their own social networks established, climate change has only little impact on the migration response. Overall, the directionality of the coefficients indicates that an increase in temperature increases international migration, while an increase in precipitation declines international migration. For example, the coefficient for the warm spell duration index with a value of 1.23 shows that an increase in warm spells by 1 standard deviation increases the probability of a first international move by 23%. To explore the effect of community-level social networks, we interacted the climate measures with a measure of the proportion of adults with migration experience within the community. The graph shows the strongest effects or steepest slope of climate change on international migration for communities with the weakest migrant networks, the dotted line. In contrast, climate change has a much weaker impact on international migration in communities with strong social networks, the solid black line. In conclusion, our study shows that a warming in temperature and a decline in rainfall increased international outmigration from rural Mexico during the study period of 1986 to 1999. However, social networks appear to suppress the climate migration response, perhaps because networks channel resources and knowledge that help with climate change adaptation in local communities.